Hey, welcome back. It's JWalter here, and here is today's housing market update, and this is thanks to a brand new report that was just published today. Home sales rose in October as investors rushed to buy single-family houses across the United States. Sales of previously owned houses, which includes single-family houses, townhomes, condos, and co-ops, rose 0.8% from September 2021 to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 6.34 million in October. This means that sales of houses in the US are at their fastest pace since January of this year. Lawrence Yoon of the National Association of Realtors stated the following: home sales remain resilient despite low inventory and increasing affordability challenges. Inflationary pressures such as fast rising rents and increasing consumer prices may have some prospective buyers seeking the protection of a fixed, consistent mortgage payment. And speaking of rising consumer prices, inflation is at its highest level in over 30 years. Basically, anything you buy right now is more expensive compared to 1 year ago. So for example, gasoline is up over 50% compared to a year ago. Car rentals have increased by 39%, and the cost of hotels, used cars, and trucks, as well as natural gas, are all up over 20% from 1 year ago. And with rising rental prices, investors have been on a spending spree, well, except for one outlier. Even with Zillow being out, the increase of investor purchases is making it harder for people like you and me to buy houses, especially given the low amount of housing inventory. And here's the latest stats we have for you regarding investor purchases. According to the National Association of Realtors, or NAR, individual investors or second home buyers purchased 17% of all houses sold in October, and that's up from 13% in September and up from 14% in October of 2020. In other words, on average, 2 out of every 10 houses that sold in October is being sold to an investor who plans to rent out the house or a person looking to buy a vacation house. In addition, the number of all cash sales has been increasing as well. These are people who are not using a loan to buy a house. So all cash sales accounted for 24% of transactions in October, and that's up from both September and from the 19% we saw in October of 2020. Another factor that's making it very difficult for people to buy houses right now is the lack of houses for sale. Inventory has now decreased for 3 months in a row, and this is after it increased over the previous 5 consecutive months. Total housing inventory is now down 12% from 1 year ago, and the unsold housing inventory sits at only a 2.4 month supply, which is basically even from last year. So in other words, it still remains a very strong seller's market on average in the United States. Okay, changing gears slightly, let me give you an update regarding home prices. As I reported in my previous videos, the median sold price in the US decreased on a month-to-month basis from July to September of this year, even though the National Association of Realtors didn't discuss this in their report. But according to this brand new report that was just published today, here's how home prices changed compared to last month. The median sold price in the US for all housing types in October was $353,900. That's less than a 1% increase from September 2021, but a 13% increase from October 2020. They went on to say the following: this marks 116 straight months of year-over-year increases, the longest running streak on record. Do not be fooled by this because home prices have not increased for 116 straight months on a month-to-month basis. Here's a direct download from NAR's website. It's very hard to find, but it's there. As you can see here, the median sold price decreased in November, December, and January. Then prices increased greatly from February through June of this year, but then decreased again from July to September. So October's rise in the median sold price was the first increase in the last 4 months. Even though home prices increased very slightly last month, what we're typically seeing right now is a seasonal slowdown on steroids. This is the time of year where home prices tend to level out or plateau, and we also have fewer home buyers and fewer houses listed for sale. And I say that this housing market still feels like it's on steroids though, because houses are selling very, very quickly. So in October, days on the market were only 18 days, and that was down from 21 days last year. In addition, 82% of houses sold in October were on the market for less than a month. And because the real estate market still remains very competitive on average across the nation, first-time homebuyers are having a harder time finding a house to buy. So for example, first-time homebuyers purchased 29% of all houses that sold in October, but that's down from 32% from last year. And despite the expiration of the federal foreclosure moratorium that ended this summer, sales of short sales and foreclosures are still more or less non-existent at less than 1% of all sales. In my opinion, the main reasons why home sales and home prices increase in the United States is due to three main factors. Number one, mortgage interest rates are still very, very low. According to Freddie Mac, the average 30-year fixed-rate mortgage in September was only 2.9% and 3.07% in October. October's rate was higher than any other month this year except for March, but it's still below the annual average in 2020 of 3.11%. Low rates, of course, means it's cheaper to borrow money, and of course, that fuels demand from home buyers. The downside, though, is of course, it causes home prices to increase. A second reason why the real estate market remains elevated is from a continued increase in sales of more expensive houses. So for example, sales of houses less than $250,000 dropped by 24% from 1 year ago. In contrast, houses over $500,000 surged by double digits, and the highest increase was seen in the $1 million plus range. And a third reason why the real estate market still feels like it's on steroids is of course due to a lack of houses for sale. Many markets across the United States are still experiencing low inventory levels, and that creates multiple offers, which of course drives up home prices. What I'm personally seeing in the Sacramento area is that home sellers are getting in the range of 2 to 3 offers on average right now, versus 6 to 10 offers earlier this year. Of course, that's great news if you're looking to buy a house right now, but the downside is there are not a lot of options out there. Okay, so going back to this report, let me give you an update regarding how each region in the United States fared, because of course there's some differences here. Existing home sales in the Northeast fell by 2.6% in October and 13.8% from October 2020. The median price in the Northeast was $379,000. That's up 6.4% from 1 year ago. Existing home sales in the Midwest rose by 4% to an annual rate of $1.5 million in October. That's a 6.3% decrease from 1 year ago. The median price in the Midwest was $259,000, which is almost an 8% increase from October 2020. Sales in the South increased by 0.4% in October, but dropped 3.5% from 1 year ago. The median price in the South was $315,000, and that was a 16% climb from 1 year prior. The West neither rose nor fell from the prior month's level, but sales were down 5% from 1 year ago. The median price in the West was $507,000. That's up almost 8% from October 2020. And fun fact, the West's median price was almost double that of the Midwest. So what are you seeing in your neck of the woods? Please comment below. Also, if you got any value out of this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. And also consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.